Today we'll be taking a look at how we can communicate between components. There are two kinds of components we can differentiate based on the relationship that they have. So if we are making use of a component inside another component, then we have a parent-child based relationship component, and then we have separate components which do not relate to each other but may call at times based on certain functionalities. So we differentiate them in that order. Now over here we'll first take a look at how a parent can communicate to a child component, and then we'll take a look at how a child can call parent component. So these two differences we'll take a look at. The first one is pretty simple. We make use of properties in order to communicate from parent to child. So let's take an example over here. Here when we were discussing properties, you might have noticed that we created a component called course collection, and this was having a property called platform whose default value we were passing as Udemy. Now this course collection that we have over here was making use of, or it was returning courses. So inside the courses we had the same platform property, and this platform was getting its value from course collection property. So we were actually passing Udemy over here. So in a way the parent control or component was communicating via properties to the child component. So this way we communicated from parent to child. Now coming on to the other way around, when child has to communicate to parent component, in that case what we have done, we have created a simple HTML page, and here you can see that we have list of courses, and this list of courses we have the courses component obviously over here, and this is having a property called list. Now what we are trying to do over here, inside the parent component we have defined an event called onSelect, and whenever a user is selecting any of the courses, then that course name is being printed in the console. And here as you can see, we are just making use of the map function to loop through all the courses that we have in course list, and while doing so we are assigning the onSelect event of the parent to this particular child, and whenever we click on any of the courses, this onSelect in the parent gets called because we are binding that with the onClick event. So the course name is displayed, and inside the div we have this onClick event. So when you're clicking on the onClick, it's actually calling the onSelect of the parent via this function. So if I run this in browser, you'll see that in console here, when I click on master React.js, you'll get you clicked master React.js. When I click master knockout, it will say you clicked master knockout.js. Similarly, advanced jQuery for designers and developers, that gets printed over here. So that is how it's basically calling the parent function. You're making use of the bind event, and this bind is actually binding the select event to the onClick event of the div. So that way you are calling the parent function using the child click event. So that way you can communicate from child to parent. Now there is one more type of component which are not related to each other. In that case what we can do is we can make use of the different states that React.js provides. For instance, we can bind events or subscribe to events in component did mount. In our last lecture, if you noticed, we were making use of the jQuery get method in the very same state, component did mount, and this state allows you to subscribe to events, and then you can make use of the component will unmount state to unsubscribe those events. And obviously while doing so you can make use of the set state function to set the state of the particular component. So here we were setting the state of this customer with the list of customers that we got from the OData service. So these are a couple of ways using which you can communicate from parent to child and from child to parent, or between non-related components.